Hi, I'm Jennifer Beacom, and I'm the president of the Radnor Historical Society. And kids, we are thrilled to have you visit us today at the Finley House. The Radnor Historical Society was founded in 1947 here in Wayne by a group of interested citizens. In 1948, Miss Dorothy Finley, one of the group who founded the organization, donated her home, to the Historical Society for us to house all of our papers, our books, our exhibits. And that's what we do here at the Society. We are here to help you as you get older with your schoolwork, help mom and dad, help grandma and grandpa. We do genealogies, which is tracing your family history. We help people research their homes who used to live here, 10 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. And we participate in a lot of community activities as well. As you'll see in a minute, we have a Conestoga Wagon that we used to bring out in the Memorial Day Parade. We will start bringing it out again, starting next year when the parade is back. And we have the original kitchen from 1789 when Captain John Pugh, who was the original builder of the house, moved here after the Revolution and set up his farm. And we'll be able to show you that in a few minutes. This is our Conestoga Wagon. It is an original wagon. It dates from 1805. And these types of Conestoga wagons, I know you may think it looks like the kind that, a mom and a dad and some kids and a dog and a cow maybe, hooked up and took across to go west. But this isn't that kind of wagon. This kind of wagon and our Pittsburgh wagon, which is back there, they really were the tractor trailers of the early 1800s. So when you're on the Schuylkill Expressway or the Blue Route and you see the big tractor trailers hauling freight, that's what this was. A wagon like this would go back and forth from Pittsburgh to Philly and from Philly to Baltimore. And it would take goods just like a tractor trailer today does. You see a big Wawa or a big Coke truck or something like that full of product. That's exactly what these were. And the road that it would go on is now the Pennsylvania Turnpike. So what you and I can do in, 5 or 6 hours, drive from one end of the Commonwealth to the next, this used to take 3 weeks because they had to go up and down the hills, of course. Luckily, those hills are all gone now. But so the next time you're on the turnpike, think about a Conestoga wagon like this and how it was pulled by a team of horses or perhaps even a team of oxen sometimes with a man sitting on the left here. That's why we drive on the left side of the road in America these days or we sit on the left side of the road or left side of the car in America these days because that was how they did the wagons way back when. And let me point out, this wagon was on General Wayne's property in Waynesboro. This was a farm wagon for him. And then you can see the big freight Pittsburgh wagon. That's kind of your second generation model of getting freight from one end of Pennsylvania to the next. This statue is Caesar. And Caesar was originally on Luella Mansion, which is just right over by the train station. It's the condominiums now, I think. And Wayne was originally called Luella. The man who founded this area named Luella after his daughters, Louise and Ella, one of those were their names. But when the family decided to sell Luella Mansion in the 40s, I guess, the 50s, Mrs. Saucer, another one of our founding members, was able to rescue Caesar and get him for our grounds. He is made of steel, I believe, or some sort of metal. And there's at least one more of these here in Philadelphia over in a summer house over by the river from a judge. But you can see he's in pretty good shape for being easily over 100 years old. We do have him permanently anchored in the ground now, so we don't have to worry about anyone walking off with him. And he just got a bath yesterday, so he looks nice and clean for all you guys. This is the original part of what is now the Finley House. This is the house Captain John Pugh, built in 1789 after his family came up to this area from the Revolutionary War. The United States was 2 years old by this time. And as you can see, what you did back then, you didn't have a hotel to go to, you weren't buying us another house for any of you kids who have ever moved before. You came and you had to build your own house. And that's what this was. He built this room and then the room that's over there behind the door. And he and his family lived here while they cleared the land. They had to farm, they had to chop down trees, just do, whatever you needed to do to live on a daily basis. For the girls who are listening, it would have been your job to cook, clean. You can see all the different kinds of foods we had here. There was no going to Wegmans like I do today. Everything came on your own. A couple of other things I like to point out here, the spinning wheel we have for everybody who has ever watched Sleeping Beauty. If you remember how Aurora falls asleep, she pricks her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel. That would be right here. It would have been a long needle. And a little girl would learn how to use that, and she would help her mom make clothes out of the fabric that they spun. You can see, typical food would have been bread. You would have baked bread a couple of times a week. You had eggs from your chickens, things you grew in your garden. These days people have their own gardens again and they grow food. And then behind us here is the hearth where moms and sisters and daughters would have cooked. And this here is the oven where they would have baked bread. You would have put a fire right back in there and gotten things hot. And that's how, so this is an old time oven. When, like I said, little boys would be out with their dads, they would be helping work the land. They would know how to shoot game, which is like turkeys or pheasants or birds, ducks, that type of thing. And they would come home in the evenings, their meals would be prepared for them. And by the end of the day, everybody was so tired, you would just go to bed. And I really hope you've enjoyed seeing a little blip of our historical society when we open back up. We love giving tours. We love having families come. And we would be thrilled to entertain yours. Just send me an email, president@radnorhistory.org, and we can arrange things. Thank you.